Okay. All right. Welcome to Hot Flashes and Cool Topics, our midlife bunch with all the fun ladies in the group. So I'm Colleen from Hot Flashes and Cool Topics, and we kind of wanted to put this together because we met some of these great ladies. Well, I know Terry for a little while at Podfest this couple months ago before craziness of COVID took place. And we really kind of connected on so many topics for midlife women that we were saying, we really should try to do some live streams and some cross promoting. So this was our first idea. So we are going to talk about all things life in midlife during the COVID crisis. So I'm going to start with Bridget.
Okay.
Wrong way. And she's going to introduce herself. What we figured, introduce ourselves, talk a little bit about what we do, and then we'll get into some good conversations.
Okay. Well, I'm Bridget, and I am Colleen's co-host on Hot Flashes and Cool Topics. And our podcast is about women in midlife. So if you're on our page right now, you know that. Anything and everything to do with women in midlife. Our big goal is to change the narrative of what a midlife woman is and looks like and does, because we can do this.
You're technically savvy enough to figure this out.
I got to hand it to my co-host for that one. So really,
it's early. It's only a minute in.
But hey, that is so cool that you even got that.
Okay, so on your other side, I got to get you straight.
Yes.
On your other side is Carolyn. So Carolyn, introduce yourself.
Hi there. So glad to be here with you all. And I am the host of the Wellness While Walking podcast. It's over at wellnesswhilewalking.com. And basically, I talk while people might take a 30-minute walk or otherwise move their body. And I guess I feel like fitness and wellness, along with everything else in this world, seems to get ratcheted up all the time. And there are all these crazy out there ideas that you just say, like, I can't do that, so you don't do anything. And so my thought is to break down health and wellness into the tiniest steps. And while people are taking some steps, they realize it's not out of reach and they make progress a little bit at a time.
Well, thank you, Karen. Okay, Terry, your turn.
Hey, I'm Terry, and my podcast is Mixing Up Midlife. Again, I have a lot of the same, doing new things in midlife and learning new things. And quite frankly, I am willing to do almost anything to make it easier for other women to say, I can do that too. Mm-hmm. So that's my big goal. I want to take away the I cannot. And I really want to lead by example. And if it takes me making a fool of myself, I'm good with that. Mm-hmm. So that's me.
Well, thank you. Follow her on Instagram. She does some funny posts on Instagram. So funny. Katherine, you're next. Welcome.
Hey, I'm so happy to be with y'all again, even if it is from such a distance. So I'm Katherine Ely. I'm a licensed counselor, and I host the Imperfect Thriving podcast, which, similar to y'all, is for women in midlife. It's really about sort of what Terry was saying about discovering what limiting beliefs we have, what we're telling ourselves right now that we can't do and why we can't do it. It's about discovering what those are, letting go of them, letting go of perfection, and really discovering what you want the rest of your life to look like and the little daily actions that can get you there.
Awesome. And now we're up to Wendy, the travel woman.
Yeah. So I'm Wendy Payne of Travel with Wendy. My podcast is called Talking Travel with Wendy, and I travel the globe supporting and promoting small businesses wherever I go. I make connections with small chateaus, agriturismos, restaurants, mom and pops, some locally here in Huntsville, Alabama, and some next week I'll be in Canada and North Carolina, so in Italy. So I try to forge connections and with people to promote keeping sustainable tourism going.
Well, that leads me to my first question. How are you going to Italy in the next couple of weeks or anywhere when we are all officially at the stay-at-home stage?
Well, like what we're doing right now, everything is virtually online. So I have a very special friend that I've known for almost 6 years now, Raffaella Bucafaco in Perugia, she is putting her cooking classes online. So in person, she has a 4-room agriturismo that can house 8 to 10 people, and she is very hands-on. You're cooking for 4 hours a day, but we're going to move her to online so people can still have that experience. She's still going to concentrate on small classrooms, so the sizes will be 6 to 8 people.
Yeah.
So trying to help them keep going. As you know, Italy was hurt pretty badly, and still are. So,
well, I'm glad that you've come up with a unique way. What has affected you guys the most so far in this kind of isolation period? What are you finding the most challenging? Terry?
Wow.
Throw out a name, Terry.
I know. I'm like the most challenging. So,
or one of the challenging. It doesn't. I know there's a lot of.
Yeah. No. I mean, there's so many challenges. I actually think the initial challenge is getting over the anxiety of it all. Like that's a lot of it is terrifying, and as information comes and goes, it can either make us feel more comfortable or not. So I think it's managing the stress of that it's been super important. And I am, happy to be actually getting out. I am privileged enough that I have a large enough house that every person that's home right now can spread out. And we go to our separate corners. I took over the guest bedroom. That was kind of a big thing I did, and took out the bed. My daughter, who's not here, her poor room is like a dumping ground. But I've carved out a space for myself, and that's actually really helped me sort of feel more settled in a space. And I think that's really important. But I've also been privileged enough to be able to get out every day. Everybody is practicing their social distancing with their walks. And it's really, helps me clear my mind. It's super important. So that's been something. But, if you want to talk issues.
There's a headband on here for a reason.
Hair is something spectacular. I got roots for days, people.
It's great, isn't it? Especially when you have darker hair color, and
especially when you have a hot flash.
The nice thing about starting to get grays, it blends with the blonde a little bit.
Rub it in.
The grays kind of, maybe I'll have a little more weeks there with the gray.
We can just keep the headphones on.
Blonde hair.
What'd you say?
I said that's assuming that you have blonde hair.
No,
exactly.
This is my true color.
There you go.
It's probably about your hair color. Yeah.
So. Carolyn, what are you struggling with now?
So I think the hardest thing for me was just welcoming, putting it generously, welcoming back college kids who were not supposed to be here and weren't any happier about it than I was. So I, almost immediately jumped into trying to figure out how we were going to do this. And, both in terms of physical space, like Terry, I'm jealous of your office. I'm in a closet. But like, also just mental space and space to live and be ourselves. And we haven't really, had to deal with this so much. So I think I was really quick to we have to figure this all out. And I'm finding that settling into it is a little bit of a better approach because they just weren't ready to think about how this was going to be going forward. And we're still, figuring out Wi-Fi and online schooling
and laundry.
And so on, but
rediscovered the joys of laundry again.
I'm running the dishwasher all the time and nobody else seems to be it. So
how many do you have at home, Carolyn?
So I have 4 kids and 3 are at home. 2 were not at home. So 1 was home. But so I have, 2 more back. And like I said, not necessarily.
Because you have 1 in high school, right? That's just
one's still in high school, yeah. So that college process is going to be a little different. But yeah.
Who's a child that's going to be missing a graduation? Anybody? How's that going? That's just heartbreaking.
It's really heartbreaking. He is, I got to tell you, I'm so impressed with how he's handling it because he's bummed. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he is really bummed. His entire senior year, the last semester, all the things that are surrounding the last semester, which are really big, are now done and gone. and there's no graduation. That was canceled. But he's handling it as best he can. And I think that is really making things easier just in general. I mean, he's in the same position as so many of his friends, right? So I don't know any of his friends whose graduations haven't been canceled.
Right.
So, they're all in it together, which is, helpful, I think. And I just have to say right here, I am so thankful for Xbox. I never thought I would ever be so thankful for Xbox in my life, but he's able to still, he and his friends talk all the time, and it's like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Animal Crossing. I think Animal Crossing came out this week.
Oh yeah, my son.
And all the kids are on their Switches. I just go yes. Katherine, what about you? What have you found to be? I mean, because you see a lot of patients too.
Yes, and Carolyn, I've been seeing them in my closet because of the number of people that I have in my house, and finding a quiet place is not easy, especially with HIPAA, to keep it private. I think trying to reframe how we look at this, instead of like at the beginning, it was this sort of watching and waiting, this helplessness of everything is going on in the world, I can't really do anything about it, to who do I want to be during this time and what do I want to accomplish? And having that be the focus every morning, and trying to get my family on board with that same sort of mentality. What can I get done, and who do I want to be? What do I want to look back on this when it is over, and it will be over at some point? What do I want to look back on this and say, I was and I did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would, just to piggyback off of that, one of the things, I don't know if it's getting used to, but one of the things I've been very impressed with is the average Mary Jo is helping. What can we do to help in this time? And I've just been very impressed with our world as how can I reach a helping hand to Italy or even my neighbor. Yesterday, one of my friends that I typically walk with every other day, but we haven't been able to without keeping our 6-foot distance, said, "Do you have some yeast? Could you leave it on my back door?"
Yeah.
Just helping each other out, definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, and normally we wouldn't be asking for help. We would just be running to the grocery store ourselves because we're so independent and we can do it ourselves. But there's something that happens in our heart and our head when somebody in need asks you for help and you say, yeah, I can help you with that. I have actually a little bit too much yeast. It's not like the toilet paper, but I got a lot.
That's what I was thinking with. It's full of toilet paper.
I have to say, with the yeast, just as an aside, before this all started, I bought like a ton of yeast because I thought, well, no, I was like, well, what happens if, and I had tons of flour left over from Christmas anyway. So I was like, what happens if, and I got to tell you, I'm so thankful. My son he has a banging recipe for New York style bagels that is I can't even so good. So good. And I am so nervous about the COVID-19 pounds.
I know carbs have been the friend. Yes. But I have enough to make focaccia and pizza dough.
Yes.
And it's so good.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to get, actually. You can look. It's really almost impossible to get. And I saw a hint of it coming because Italy ran out of yeast and flour. Makes sense. And so then I immediately went to get yeast and flour. And guess what? Flour I finally found, but yeast. So
really?
Yeah. So you were lucky.
Flour was hard. Well, I had flour like Terry said from Christmas left over. And so many things have changed, but I actually made my own pasta for the first time last week.
That's awesome. There you are.
What
happened? Now the bunch is moving. Okay.
That's okay. It's keeping it alive.
Pasta, because pasta was something hard to find. I actually had trouble. I went to Costco probably after we got back from Podfest,
Uh-huh.
I went to Costco to just really, get stuff, and I could not find spaghetti. And that's where I typically got, the huge boxes of
Oh, sure.
So I was like, okay, I've got flour and I've got eggs, so I've got to make some pasta. And it was really good. So I've done that. And
That's awesome.
yeah, my children are here. My son was in California, and we talked to him before all this happened, really got bad. I begged him to please let us get him a one-way ticket here until it's over. And he is in film, and he's also worked at a restaurant, and neither of that's happening.
Right.
I think they were keeping it to take out, and his restaurant was very happy to say, yes, go ahead. Because then that's somebody else that could be working.
Right.
If he was able to work. And then my daughter was able to work from home. So she is here with her computer. So part of me is like, I love that they're here. And I've told them that repeatedly to the point where they're like, we know, Mom. And I just said, I love that you're here. I don't like the reason why you're here, but I love having you here. So I've kind of, it's like this state of worry, but this state of peace. Just as long as we keep ourselves where we are.
Easy.
Yes. And not go out and do things so we're not doing that. And another thing was Terry was saying the COVID-19 cycle bar or where I live said that you could rent their bikes. They dropped the bike off.
Oh, wow.
Brought the bike in, wiped it down, brought the bike in, or, brought it upstairs. And so they can go online with cycle bars. So I have to give a shout out to all those fitness places that are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like Pure Bars online where they're doing
one of the most intriguing things I think that's coming out of all of this. And do you know how everybody picks a word for the year? So I never have done that just because I'm always afraid one word's going to limit me because you can't limit me. No, but pivot, right? And I find it so hopeful that so many, I know so many small businesses are really struggling, but it's really in the restaurant industry, it's just killing me, but even that they're coming up with really creative solutions. There are places in our state that are doing cocktail mixers, and they're going online and telling people how to mix their cocktails at home. And, this is, I hate to, it's just good that they're able to pivot and do something creative with nothing, which, that's great. But the inventiveness that's coming out of all of this is a good thing.
We have in our neighborhood, I'm sorry, in our neighborhood that's happening, the food truck. Food trucks usually have a day and they're all downtown and they're all lined up together. But what they're doing is every day in each neighborhood, there's 2 of them. And then they rotate and so they're still open, but they're open every day, but they're going to a new neighborhood, and you place your order from 6 feet away. They make it, they step back, you come up and you go,
wow,
you get yours. So I love it. So this afternoon, right down the block for me, I get to go have lunch.
Wow. What about you, Katherine? What have you found that people are being creative about?
I think still working out together, in my neighborhood, you'll see, I have one friend that I still go walk with every day, but we've decided it's just going to be the 2 of us the whole time and not anybody else. And we stay 6 feet apart and we alternate between our neighborhoods. And the other thing that we're going to do, for our swim team that can't get in the water, we're going to do a 30-day challenge where the coaches will virtually do some videos for them and give them their exercises, and we'll think of some other things that the swimmers can do to stay together and to encourage their teammates along the challenge, just like they would if they were in the pool together doing a set.
Well, Caroline, how does that work? Because you have a podcast called Wellness While Walking. So people are walking. Do you find that you've had more people listening? Because a lot of people are getting out to walk. They're just being, cognizant of the 6 feet apart, but they're out there walking. Have you kind of done some taping for particular, okay, you're now in social isolation, get out,
Yeah.
walk?
Yeah. I mean, I love the idea of keeping all content sort of evergreen because, you come to a podcast, you might, they might be talking about Valentine's Day and you're like, yeah, it was a while back. But I thought it was really important since it's a health and wellness podcast that I had to acknowledge the health crisis, So yes, I am definitely seeing, more people listening. But I think people, I can see out in my neighborhood. I mean, I'm a big walker, obviously, and I see the change in the number of people, families, and so on. So I love that even more. It's, I'm great. I love being along with people on their walks, but I'd rather actually they use the time to reconnect, like Katherine was saying. It's such a wonderful time to reconnect. So, but I've loved seeing all kinds of people out there walking. And the truth of the matter is it's all about moving your body and it's tied into your immunity and your mental wellness and so on. So just moderately moving, like walking, it's so great for you. And add in getting outside. I mean,
yeah, and you can keep your social distance, which is great.
Right.
Moving and
yes. Yeah, that has been wonderful. Well, Colleen, what about you? Let's hear from you, girl.
I've got so many questions for everybody else. No, we live in a community where we're able to walk, which we are really lucky that there's so many sidewalks. And I've noticed, a lot of people come out, but as you're walking down that sidewalk, one person's pivoting this way, one person's pivoting that way. And, it kind of becomes almost a mental thing. Like you're so used to connecting with humans that when you can't, it's like, what do you use to cope? What do you change about? Having my family home has been huge. I think if I had been by myself, that would have been really, really hard.
Yeah, I do worry about the people who are completely alone and who are in smaller apartments with no green space to get out. Like I really worry about their mental health. I really worry about that because I think that's got to be a tough one if you're cooped up in, a big city in a small apartment where you feel like just walking outside could, the anxiety of that has got to be really, really overwhelming.
That's why I wanted my son here. He has a studio apartment in Los Angeles, in Burbank, and he loves, when he's there, he walks he's right near stores and restaurants. Well, that was all going to be gone. And I thought, I've, please, he did not want to go near an airport. And I just begged him.
The mama guilt.
My sister chimed in, my niece chimed in to convince him to get here. And I wiped everything down when he got in and I gave him a plastic bag and I said, get in the shower, put your clothes in here, straighten the laundry. And this has been a few weeks ago. So I'm just so grateful that he's here. But it's so funny. He's the one that is too nervous to go to go outside and walk. Yeah, as a group. But my daughter,
it's been especially hard, I think, for the elderly generation too. My father-in-law is 81 years old, and he just said the isolation is deafening.
Yeah,
we find that my son go over there, after he did all that too, and they traveled to Missouri this week because he needed to be with someone.
So he's with his grandfather then.
Well, with our older family members and anyone we can think of in our lives who might be completely alone right now, it's so important for us to, even if we have to explain it over a regular phone call, how to do FaceTime.
Yes.
We need to be reaching out to those people as best we can and checking on them because there really is nothing worse for your mental health than complete isolation.
Yeah.
I agree. And so in doing some of this learning, I don't know if you have seen Loom, Loom. It's a screen recording thing. So, but you can speak into it. I literally just played with it once. But you can send a Loom video to somebody so that you can teach them step by step how to do a Zoom conference call or a FaceTime video chat or something like that. And I think that's super helpful right now.
I'm playing with the button.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know what happened. Yeah.
We're getting a lot of people coming on, and I want to make sure people are aware that like people are coming on, and that's kind of cool.
That is
So if
cool.
anyone has a question, please throw it out there. We are happy to talk about it.
Yeah, if you have a question, put it out there.
Well, I mean, I really like. one of the fears that I do have for this is the mental health component.
Yeah.
Because I do think isolation can be so dangerous. And when I see the nursing homes and the assisted living facilities and the family members outside the window, that just breaks your heart.
Yeah.
Because to be ill and to be older and scared and then to not have a family member in, I just think people being isolated, their mental health is going to suffer.
Yeah.
Anybody have suggestions on what to do about that?
I'll tell you one thing he talked about. He said, if you don't get somebody over here and hook up my Netflix, I'm going to go in.
Oh, Netflix.
Yes.
We better get Chris over there.
I saw a, I don't know if it was on the Today Show or where a woman like got poster board because she couldn't visit the people that she normally visited in these retirement communities or nursing homes. So I guess if we wanted to do something like that, where we actually went around like the outside of the building and communicated through windows, you know, you could call someone ahead of time and say, this is what I'm going to be doing at this time of day. Can you get everybody out their windows? And you could do something or use if Terry, you can sing. Maybe you could go.
That is hilarious that you just said that.
That's some really funny videos.
Yeah, that wouldn't help anybody's mental health.
I should have taped that before we went on.
Oh, so there's a question that just came in.
Okay. Anyone else experiencing frequent lack of focus? Thank you,
God,
Jennifer.
Yes. I mean, yes.
But I experience that even when we're not in.
Me too.
I do have a lack of focus, but then part of me, like I still am going on with our day because the only difference, Colleen and I aren't in the room together.
Right.
So we're just using a lot of Zoom, a lot of video conferencing. It's my focus has shifted, but I still can lack focus. But it is shifted. So now it's more, I have to cook every night now. Or order out, and we do, but I'm cooking for 4 people again. Like you said, laundry is larger. And luckily, like Terry said, we have enough room to spread out so that we are all in different rooms. And the weather had been really nasty here for a few days, like just torrential rain. Yesterday was gorgeous. Yeah. So it was like out, beautiful walk. Today it's getting a little bit cloudy looking, overcast looking. That's a real mood thing. Those days that I can't go out and walk are really hard. And that hurts my focus as well.
I think if you start with a morning mindfulness routine of just a couple of minutes at the beginning of the day, this is what I want to focus on today. This is most important to me. I want to get these 1, 2, or 3 things done. And then you limit when and how you get your news. Maybe once in the morning, once at night, and then in between, that's not your focus anymore. Your focus is, what am I going to get done today? What's most important to me?
Yeah.
What about like setting a daily goal, like cleaning out a closet or, learning how to do something technical like StreamYard?
Yeah.
Just picking something that, because I agree with you, Katherine, you can't have the news on all the time. It's just not healthy. And
I started this DIY project, and I started getting into it. It involved Mod Podge, out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I got into it, and I was like so excited to get this table all done. And it said you needed 3 80 to 90 degree days in a row to get it to cure. And then we had all this rain and a tornado and
timing.
I saw your video on the tornado, Wendy. I was like, oh my gosh.
I know. And it came out of nowhere.
Wow.
That's how the Nashville one was. Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that was,
to add something on top of it, but the weather is so iffy, but it's starting to get spring-like here, which is really, really nice. And I scared. I'm scared for the tornado stuff for you guys. It's a little.
I don't know if we said where everybody's located. So,
and not everybody may want to mention that, but you can say like East Coast, West Coast.
East Coast.
Alabama.
Yeah.
There you go.
Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama. Oh, neighbors, we have you next to each other.
Yes.
Carolyn, such an important question. What are you watching on Netflix?
I am absolutely the wrong person to ask. I just go along for the ride with that is one thing where I just literally go along for the ride with my kids. But I will say I've had my kids and my friends speak really highly about Netflix Party. Have any of you done that?
Oh,
So much fun.
No.
So much.
Okay,
All right, Terry, you take it.
Yeah. So in another group of podcasters, and Carolyn was in it, but I think she was busy that night and couldn't join us until we were almost completely done watching it. But this was a group of women we met at Podfest also, which I was loving. So Women Who Starcast, Angus IT. Yeah. Carolyn, Wellness While Walking, Fabled Collective, and edu.me. So all of these women, I literally just talked about this on my last episode, that we decided to form a Slack channel. And I was like, Slack what?
You lost me when you said Slack channel. Yeah.
Yeah, Slack what? And I still don't know. I know there's probably much more in-depth uses of it than what I'm using it for. But in that Slack channel, they said, hey, there's a Netflix watch party app. You have to get the extension on Google Chrome. Let's pick a movie and we'll watch it together. Well, I had thought that we would do something People's Couchy, which would be kind of, you all have watched People's Couch before on Bravo? It used to be on a bunch of years. It was basically a bunch of people watching a reality show and commenting on it as they film themselves. And I was like, I love this so much. So I'm like, anybody who wants to do that, I'm down. But we watched Wine Country, and it was our comments. So it's not a video chat, it's a text chat. And the comments in it had me, I was in tears at some of the comments, because some of these women are like, I don't know, they're brutally funny.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
And so that's called Slack channel.
No, so we arranged the Netflix watch party in our Slack channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you have to get a Google, it has to be on Chrome, and you get the Netflix Party extension, and somebody sets it up. I didn't set it up, but I'm willing to try to set one up if anybody wants to do a new Netflix party.
I love that movie.
That.
We're in.
It was fun. It was really fun.
But it's good for the listeners to hear that if you do have family members that maybe nursing home, it might be hard for them to figure it out. But if you do have family members all over the country, you could do a Netflix party night.
Yeah.
Well, again, they have to be okay with chat, with text chat and being able to read that, because it's a little, it goes quickly. So your attention's not necessarily on the movie.
Right.
But for me, it was perfect, because I had started Wine Country by myself a bunch of months ago, and I was like, okay, dying
after doing this
with these women. I was like, I can't wait to watch it.
After a half a bottle of wine.
Oh my God, so funny.
Well, that's it. Wendy, you seem pretty familiar with Netflix parties, so why don't you explain?
No, I haven't done that one yet. I'm so down with it. No,
you're down
with Netflix.
Oh yeah.
What are you watching?
Okay, so I just posted on my Facebook page what I am subjected to by my people here, but I did get them to watch Tiger King.
Oh, how was it? Was it that bad?
Okay, so first of all, if you watch it, you cannot blame me. Because you can't unsee that stuff ever.
Yeah.
And after about the second episode, you say, I can't believe I'm watching this. And then when it's all done, you're like, what did I just watch?
Oh, wow. Did you binge it?
We did binge it.
That's what everybody says. I think that's what we're doing this weekend. We're gonna do that.
Well, I can't wait, Terry, to see. You better put a video.
Just live stream you watching the show.
Me watching the show going,
I mean, the
oh my
comments I
God.
got from people going, Wendy, I so hate you right now.
Right. Make sure to travel with Wendy. If you're going to put anything negative, you're not sending out flashes. Send it to travel with Wendy.
Right.
It's
I've
just,
watched it too. So
What about you, Catherine? What are you watching?
Oh, Little Fires Everywhere with Brady Bunch and Kerry Washington.
yes,
Good.
Oh, so good.
Reese
like the
Witherspoon,
book.
right?
yes.
And Kerry Washington.
Reese
Very-
Witherspoon is on everything.
I know.
She really is. She
She's
really is.
one savvy businbuswoman right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need to get in her circles.
I know it. I know. I'm on.
Well, she's from Brentwood, isn't she?
Yeah, Bridget and I went to see her once.
We went to her when she did her book tour. So Colleen went and met her for a second, but then because it was just like the meet and greet and you're walking through. But on the first anniversary of her store, Draper James, she came and had like an invite thing, and she like talked to you for a bit. She was really nice, and you know it was a lot of fun. She had all the stuff in her store and champagne, and you know sat there and took pictures and talked for a bit to everybody. So and she even, I know a group of girls were in there just visiting Nashville, and they didn't know about it, and she ran out the door and like waved them in. So you know, here you are visiting Nashville, and here comes Reese Witherspoon. Come in my store.
That's amazing.
Oh, so, but I read the book first, and I wouldn't watch the show until I finished the book. I finished the book, and so I've watched the first 2 episodes. It's very good.
Oh, so you're just starting. I'm a hunter. If anybody, it's Amazon. It's not.
Oh, that everybody says that's really good.
It's so good. I'll watch anything Al Pacino.
What's it called?
Hunter.
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 They're hunting Nazis.
They're
and-
hunting Nazis, but it's really good.
Yeah.
Really good. They're hunting Nazis, but it's just the acting is phenomenal. The writing is phenomenal. It's
Well,
And that's Amazon.
it's on Amazon. Yeah.
all very
Al Pacino?
highbrow.
Mhm.
You're very highbrow, all of you. I like, Love is Blind.
I'm trying to get my husband to watch that. He was like,
It's horrible. I love it.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm all about 90 Day Fiance.
Yes.
I watched Valentine's Day for like the 900th time.
Oh, that's a good one.
and Rocky Man last night.
You're being
Seen it,
really
like, 3
quiet.
times.
Yes.
Carolyn's being very quiet. I don't think she watches too much TV.
I like I said, I go along for the ride, but I did see Jojo Rabbit, which was
Who was that?
trying to think what else I've been watching. Yeah, I like to read at night, but I like to also be with my family, so I'll kind of just go along and do whatever they.
With them.
What are you reading?
Oh, wait. Somebody said Love is Blind, Married at First Sight. And somebody said Tiger King is dead.
Wait, I'm going to that.
It's not all your fault. Then.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Keep them coming. Keep suggestions coming.
Yeah. So ask your users whoever's on this. What are they watching?
What are
do
you guys watching? Because we
Yeah.
want to know. Because, there's only so many, like I said, 90 Day Fiance and then all the other Bravo and.
Oh, bravo.
You like
My husband's making me watch YouTube videos on how to be a barbecue king.
Oh. Can't you just watch the Food Network for that?
Franklin Barbecue is a great book. My son made a brisket that was just beyond. I know. I'm like, dude, I'm so happy you're home.
You're getting the benefit. My kids are not saying, let me cook dinner for you.
No, none of them have done that. But my daughter's a vegetarian, so I've been trying to change that up because she's back home, and I do HelloFresh. So my meals, since she came back, I've been changing them to vegetarian. Have to change them to 4 people instead of 2.
Wow.
So we've done. It was pretty good because I am not a good vegetable eater. I have done it for the past 2 nights. I made different really cool bowls. But you guys were talking about movies, and I really want to get my children to watch some of these classic, well, I call classic movies, but it's not even that classic. Movies that were out when I was like maybe in middle school or high school. I really want my daughter to watch 9 to 5.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, you've got to watch 9 to 5 because it's so applicable today. Like
Yeah.
I think I saw it about a month ago, and it was so somebody said, "Oh, trash! Suppose there's a new Ozark today. I better tell my husband. He loves that."
So Ozark is where my husband's from in Missouri.
Oh,
So when we watched that, I said, "This is hitting a little too close to home, isn't it?"
I mean, is it?
We watched like the first 3 episodes and we couldn't get into it. Should we give it another try?
John loves it. My husband.
You gotta have a strong stomach.
It's rough. I mean, it's got some rough. The first episode was really rough. But
So
yeah.
with watching things, how do you and your families actually agree on what to watch? Because I find it, my husband and my daughter have similar tastes with what they'll watch. And my son and my husband will also agree. I am the outlier because I like to laugh and dumb things. And I just want to sit there and be mind numb. I don't ever want to think. I just seriously. So how do you find a middle ground that suits everybody?
Well, Carolyn just goes with the flow. So we already know your answer. You give in to the kids, right?
I make people hold off. Like there were things I was behind on, like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I did make them wait for me, and I caught up a little bit. So, but yeah, pretty much whatever they want.
What about you, Catherine?
We don't watch together. Like if we want to spend time together, we'll get out a game and we'll laugh and play the game. But my husband and I watch together, and everybody else watches what they want to watch. We can't agree.
What about you, Wendy?
Yeah, it's the same. And they call me a dictator. And they're so sick of rom-coms, but I'm the same way. I just, I want to watch something that's going to make me laugh.
Mindless.
Especially now.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch violent stuff that has a subplot, like 9 subplots. That's reality right now. I don't need to see something made up on TV.
So true.
So Pandemic wouldn't be high on your list to watch.
No, I watched 1 episode of that and I'm like, no, that's too
I don't want to watch that. But no, it's funny. My daughter, who is so focused and studious, her guilty pleasure is reality TV, Kardashian, Love is Blind. She had
Below Deck. Is that what you said?
Love is Blind. Oh yeah. I mean, my husband is not at all into that, but it's like he starts watching it and then he's all hooked in with it too. And so we've all enjoyed Tiger King, all of us.
Okay.
Oh yeah. It's like, okay, are we ready for the next episode? My son, he snuck ahead and watched to the end, but then he likes to see our reactions.
Peter, he's a...
You can't stop watching it. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, you can't stop. You can't look away. And then he also, it's funny, he'll bring back some really funny things, drunk history.
Oh God, that's great.
So good.
That's funny.
Old episodes that he'll introduce us to that are kind of like not appropriate for children, but like Nathan For You, things like that. And Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He brought me into watching that. Just those are his shows. And then we'll all kind of like go in and mingle a little, and maybe that wouldn't be our top choice, but then we're like, okay, yeah, I've gotta get into this. So that's kind of our thing. My husband, some of his shows are too violent for me. I just can't do them.
Yeah.
I just can't.
We do Saturday night. So Saturday night movies, we all sit together because otherwise we will never agree.
So
Colleen, what was the last movie you all watched?
We actually watched last Saturday. What is the name of it? Where's Bernadette?
Oh,
yeah.
Did you like it? The book was hilarious.
I liked it more than the kids. The kids were like, "That was a movie for you, Mom." That was about midlife women. So,
Hey, have any of you guys seen the new Little Women? Because I've heard really good things.
Yes,
I have.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
It's
good.
so good.
We have a question. Reality is taking the biggest hit during this virus. the quick turnover means nothing is getting filmed now.
Yeah.
So enjoy the stuff now, guys, because we're not going to get new seasons. Because the season finale, like, I'm a huge This Is Us fan, and the season finale was last week, and I'm like, they're not going to be taping for.
Yeah.
Right.
No, they're not doing any of that.
Okay, I haven't caught up yet, so
I have
I
record it, and
We have time now to catch up, so
that's right.
now.
Well, have you learned anything new since you guys have been isolated? Like, I can say I learned StreamYard. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
But what would you say you guys have learned new or tried something different?
I made pasta.
I made pasta. That's true. You also started listening to something about social media to like learn something new.
Oh, I did an online course. I did a free Pat Flynn online course yesterday. And another thing I started doing, because I was a teacher, I started reading books
That was awesome.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I did it. I do it on Facebook, just storybooks. I did it kind of to reach out to my great nieces and nephews. And then I thought, okay, I'm just going to put this on, and anybody that wants to share it. And we have a neighborhood group page, and I just put it out there. I just said, hey, this is for any little kids out there, because I was in my social distance walking. I saw someone that saw me and said, oh, my kid's enjoying your book. And I was like, I didn't think about that. It's not my book. I always recognize the author and all that. But
For sure.
Yeah, but I just started to do that because I thought, well, what's something I could do at a distance?
I think that's so great. I love this question that just came in.
Oh, wait. How have your diet changed? Oh, you're cruel. Who is asking this?
COVID-19 pounds. Yes, I have them. It's not been doing well.
It's hard. I mean, luckily we're running. We can't just run out and get snacks whenever we want.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm still doing my IF. I do the intermittent fasting, and I have been working out with my trainer online, and she is cruel. I'm just going to say that. I couldn't move my upper body yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So I've been trying to do yoga to recover. Thank you.
That's great.
There are a lot of online. We were saying that YMCA has like 600 classes online.
Wow.
Yeah.
People can check. Was it 60 or 60? It's a lot. It's one or the other. What about, Carolyn, you're walking. What else are you
I'm walking. I actually take a dance class. That's like my therapy,
that's cool.
really. Yeah. And so
Karen
that's online.
Ford for admitting your name. So
Karen Ford asked that question. But
so
Carolyn, you were saying, what's the dance class? I wanted to hear.
So it's an amazing dance class with like a teacher that is fantastic, a former social worker, just gets people and motivation. And so it's one of my key sources of social life. And I just absolutely love it and rely on it so much. So luckily she's taking it inside and doing it from her basement. So, and the great thing is like we can see each other while we're dancing and connect afterwards. So it's been
that's really important.
Yeah.
Have you, Bridget went black on me.
Bridget went to the dance class apparently.
She's trying to get her shoes.
Have any of you participated in like a Zoom book group or a Zoom happy hour or any of that? That's been fun. I did a trivia game that wasn't, your computer died.
Your computer died. Plug the charger.
Plug it in.
You were saying you got involved in a
Zoom. I tried to host and this is last week, I think already, trivia contest. Hey, Bridget,
welcome to the show.
No, it died. It just died. Yeah.
How did it go?
We're all frozen. There we go.
So I wanted to do a trivia game because I thought it would be super fun. And honestly, I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm always game to try stuff that I really am. I'm really game to try stuff. If you need somebody to try it out first, just I'll make the fool of myself. It's really okay. And it was the 80s Trivial Pursuit version. Now, you'd think this would be good. It was not great because there were all sorts of these crazy obscure references that had nothing to do with what I remember the 80s being. Even within music, pop culture, all of those categories, that really is what you associate more the 80s with. So it was fun. And thank God for Emily Peck Prokop, who's, yes, she brought in Pod Deck trivia icebreaker cards.
I've heard of Pod Deck. Is that good?
And they were great questions. But now there's another thing that I want to try out. And I don't know if you all have ever played Jackbox.
Yes, we play that. We do.
Okay. So there's a way that people are doing it by with other people, like remotely. So not in your own home, like via Zoom and this whole big streaming thing. But I was like, that would be fun because that game just cracks me up.
Yeah.
You're in charge of that, Terry.
I'll give it a go.
We'll expect a Zoom invite soon on that one.
Okay, then.
Catherine, how have you been doing as far as...
Wendy left.
Oh, yeah, she's
going to come back.
Review, I think, to go. Bye. Catherine, how have you been doing with diet stuff, since that's the question? Has your diet changed since being isolated?
Yeah, I think I've been eating a few more carbs. We had a friend who had some wonderful different kind of croissants delivered to us that have chocolate in them, all different things in them. And I mean, what do you do when that's around? You eat them.
You eat them.
And then you go walk.
Yeah.
And then you just did your extra walk for the day. Carolyn, did we talk about... Wendy was intermittent fasting. What about you?
Yeah, I've just been trying to not indulge in the stuff my kids, brought back into the house, and to keep their sanity. I wasn't fighting that, So I'm trying. I do find I feel better when I eat well. And if I can recognize that, then it doesn't feel like it's, a should. It's like, you will feel better if you don't eat what they just cooked up. But it's a challenge for sure. I think, it's also hard when you're not getting fresh vegetables as readily. So that's,
right.
That it requires a little more work sometimes now. But I definitely know there's like a food mood connection. So I think, if you're one of the people like me who feels that, it's a little bit easier to, kind of rein it in most of the time.
If you've got 4 kids around eating kind of whatever they want or what they were eating in college that you didn't know about.
Yes, exactly. Which wasn't driving me quite so insane as a health coach. When you're just like,
you don't need to know everything.
Yeah.
I
totally
really don't want to know most of this stuff. I really just
ignorance is bliss.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'll say sometimes I'm on a need to know basis.
Yeah.
So if I don't need to know, please don't traumatize me by telling me.
There's actually this thing online that's really cool. I have to say, it's this woman called Hunger for Words. Has anyone seen her Instagram?
No.
So it's really awesome to watch because she's a speech therapist speech therapist. She needs to come over here. And she has a dog, and she's taught this dog to communicate. And I'm not talking nouns, like verbs, states of being, so the dog
Wow.
can pat these buttons. It's so worth binging these.
Oh my God.
The dog can pat these buttons and put together full sentences. And my kids were like, are you interested in doing that? With our dog is not that bright, first of all. But, and I'm like, absolutely not, because I'm already guessing that he's sad when I leave or wants to go on a walk 25 times a day or, whatever it is. I don't need to know. I just, one more, critter's feelings. I don't need to know. Thank you. I'm out. But it's fun to watch her dog.
Well, before we finish up, because I could talk all day, but I don't know how many people actually have things to do. Well, probably not too many, but inside things to do. Can you guys just tell us, how are you coping? How are you doing now that we're week 2 into this? And what suggestion would you, what one thing is helping you cope the most for people out there listening? That's just really helping you. I mean, for me, it's staying on a routine. The fact that my kids are home is great, and I'm trying to be present in the moment, but also trying to stay on a routine so that it's not all crazy and knowing that this is a temporary situation. So what would you say, Bridget?
I would say what is helping me cope is just being able to communicate with people. If I can't see them, things like this, I had a Zoom call, and most of you know I'm from a really big family. I have 9 sisters, 2 brothers, and we've done 2 big Zoom calls with like nieces, nephews. This box is like 18 people when we do that. So that's been great. We have a GroupMe that we just like are constantly on the GroupMe page. Just, hey, this or that, and everybody hears the conversation. So really just being able to communicate with the outside world, even if I can't see them, has been great.
So you Terry, stay connected and you can.
Staying connected. That's right.
Oh, me? Yeah, I would totally say the same 2 things are saving my sanity. Not the routine so much, because I've never had much of a routine, as Carolyn knows.
We're going to talk about that.
But I do, my mornings are my mornings. So I get up, I walk the dog, I take a shower. I actually have if you all know me, I don't wear makeup. I've been putting on mascara and lipstick because it makes me feel better. And organizing my spaces just in general and cleaning have helped me feel safer and just a little bit more settled, and getting out. And I have to get out every day and walk. And if I don't, and I listen to Carolyn's podcast in my ears, and I hear all the things that can be done to help, with sleeplessness and all of that, and how to stay happy. And it's been really helpful.
Awesome. What about you, Katherine?
I would say staying in the present moment, and trying not to project out in the future or worry about what tomorrow or next week or next month is going to be. It's just about whatever I'm experiencing right now. And when I do that, like right now, I enjoy myself. I find joy in the day and in the moment. And I think that's helping me.
What about you, Carolyn?
Yeah, I love that. And building off of it, just, looking for the little things, like forcing yourself to have the framework when you wake up, like Katherine said, just, go into it saying, like, I'm going to find good things in this, silver linings, and they might be small, but the more you find them, the more, they seem to show up, and the bigger importance they have. So that really has helped me. And I, you can multitask and do it while you're walking, which is even like, oh, buds, oh, a deer. Cause like there's so few cars, I see, deer.
Yeah. It's amazing, right?
So that kind of multitasking I'm good with.
Yeah.
And how about you?
Well, Colleen.
What?
How about you?
Oh, mine I said first. I said schedule.
Oh, yeah.
I like schedule.
My memory. I've forgotten.
Brain fog. That's another episode.
Yes.
Well, Bridget from Hot Flashes and Cool Topics, which I heard is a really cool show.
Oh,
and Terry from Mixing Up Midlife, and Katherine from Imperfect Thriving, and Carolyn from Wellness While Walking. I always say that.
I get it wrong.
Thank you so much for coming on. I hope we can do this again because I really loved it. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Were great.
I loved it. It was great.
Thank you.
Really fun.
Real fun.
I'm going to figure out at the end of this if it can actually be taped and stuff like that. But thank you again for coming on. Everybody, please stay safe and healthy.
Yes.
And
thank you for having us.
Thank you all. Good to see you.
Thank you so much. Stay safe. Be well.